Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey. It's your sugar here. Yes, it's Wednesday. I'm sorry it's getting later and later, but still chime in. 7th Thursday on a Wednesday night with your girl here, your gal, Sugar, where we come to talk about women's boxing on the Natalie Sugar Brown Show. I'm Natalie Sugar Brown, and this is my platform. Yeah, I started it. I did it. Okay, so this is my platform that I come to talk to you guys about women's boxing. And it's not about women's boxing per se, all the facts and all of that stuff, right? Because we got uh true people and new people that chime in with some great information. But this is now the stage, right? It's my stage that we can come and say what we want to say, and talk about what we want to talk about women's boxing. I, Natalie Sugar Brown, will give the authentic perspective, authentic lived story about a woman boxer and really what the deal is, what the real deal is about what's going on here in women's boxing. And look, see, I already got a champ chiming in. Laura Ramsey got me blushing over here. Hey, hey, Laura, what's up, champ? Checking in, talking about, checking in, bag signal for me. All right, Laura, but thanks for chiming in. So Laura Ramsey already is on the stand, right? Laura Ramsey is a former middleweight champion of the world in women's boxing, and I always say this. I don't set nothing up. I don't Everyone's welcome. And so it is an honor truly to me, Sugar, that have champions like Laura Ramsey chiming in to the show to talk about this women's boxing. Laura Ramsey is a boss out here putting things together for fighters. Laura is now giving back. So she was a former champion, active. Laura Ramsey, just getting into it, y'all, because I mean, and how um I would say how appropriate is it that the show's title is throw it back, right? Throw it back, right? So throwing it back now to Laura Ramsey, it her story, as a fighter coming up. So she's a thoroughbred coming from the amateur ranks, okay? But Laura Ramsey also was the type of fighter or a gifted fighter where she had the thunderclap, meaning Laura Ramsey will knock your ass smooth out. Okay. She was one of very few women in the women's boxing industry and women in the game that could do that, just fresh off the stool, walk out, and if you're not careful, she'll drop you, she'll lay your ass out. Okay. So Laura has fighters now. Of course, people are gonna find a champion to guide them through their own journey. And she actually moves a really spunky fighter that I like. I got my eye on her. Taz, the Golden Child Brown, out here doing the damn thing. Little weight fighter. I think Taz is a bantamweight or something like that. So 122, 119, 125, them numbers. Why? Because in women's boxing, we don't really have a number, right? We have a range that we fight in. And the better you are, I would say the wider your range, right? The more dangerous your weight range could be. You could drop low, 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 or you can go high, 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 and still be dangerous. So let's talk, right? Let's talk the talk. Um, Throwing it back. I mean, I have a couple things that I wanted to talk about tonight with y'all, and I'm hoping more people chime in, so I can kind of veer off into it. But throwing it back tonight is really talking about. I'm a open up the show talking about an old school fight that people sleep on. People don't um really mention this big deal, this super fight that happened. And I'm looking in my notes now because Sugar need her notes. But the fight is or was between two great women's boxers, right? Two really good women's boxers who were in their prime, around when Suge was a little greenback out, amateur out here trying to figure out what she wanted, figure out how she was going to get to the top. So these two fighters are Christy Martin versus Isra Girga. Uh, and y'all know I'm a gem, but sorry y'all out here, but Sugar will butcher your name. No disrespect at all, but I think I get it from my Grammy because Grammy will tear your name up. But she said, "You know what I'm talking about. You know I'm talking about you." Okay, and it's just out of love. Okay, so lovely assistant, do you have uh the first image here or the slideshow ready? Lovely assistant? No? All right. So my guys in the background, I don't know what they got going on. They might be asleep. They don't know, but I mean, hopefully an image will come up when as I start talking, right? So a lot of the biggest fight or the most popular or famous fight, I would say, um, Christy Martin wise, is Christy Martin versus it was Christy Martin versus Layla Ali. But this fighter here, Isra Girgra, that you're looking at is in the slide next to me, was I this fight here was a groundbreaking fight. Okay, why? I'll tell you why. Where my notes at? All right. All right. So these two women fought on August 23rd, 1997. 97, y'all. Okay. Um, to 8 rounds. Okay. 8 2-minute rounds, where at the time, uh, Christy Martin was 33 wins. Uh, where is it? Sorry, y'all. Not Samaya. 33 wins, one loss, and two draws. Okay, so like she was big in the sport. She was a name. Okay, and so no one came close to defeating this bombshell, who is Christy Martin. And they had her up there. She was slumping broads left and right. Okay, there were some tough ones in there, but Christy Martin really dominated the fighters that she was fighting. This fighter comes along. Okay, they call her Isra Girgra, the Raging Beauty, and as you can see, she does have a unique look to her. I would say I I I grew up in the gym with this broad. Yeah, I was lucky enough to um start off in the gym with a champion, a female champion in the same gym. I didn't know to the depths of what she was, but she was someone that I was like, wow, she's a woman champion. She's a woman boxing champion. So 8 rounds, you guys. And the thing about Isra is, I came across this fighter, or I came into the meeting her, um, I would say shortly before this huge fight where she was getting ready for this fight. And all the hoorah was around her. Very humble, very quiet woman. And she's tiny too, just you would look at her and you wouldn't think fighter, right? um and now she's about to get in the ring with who I knew at the time, everybody knew, uh Christy Martin, the baddest bitch on the planet, you know what I'm saying? So um hey, Brooke, so I got another champ on my show, you guys. I got another champ on my show. Brooke Millbrook. Now she Miss Millbrook. She go by Miss Millbrook, but it was Dedorf when she was fighting, and she has a show. She has a show on Tuesdays. Okay, so um, you guys, Brooke Deerdorf is on my show. She's another champ. Chimes in out of love, out of respect. Brooke, I hope you stay tuned because I got something I want to talk to you about. And I think you know what we want. I think you know what we're going to talk about tonight, right? So we're going to really get into it. But let me feature this throwback fight real quick. And y'all tell me, Laura and Brooke, y'all tell me if y'all remember this fight back in the day. So this fight happened in Madison Square Garden. Okay. So a lot of people are sitting there talking about how, you know, the Katie Taylor fight and the Katie Taylor and the Chris Laura Serrano fight was like the biggest fight and the first women's fight in Madison Square Garden. Let me double check y'all, because um that's not the case. I've been telling you guys that women were fighting in Maddie Square Garden. Okay, where is this at? All right, yeah. So Madison Square Garden, New York, New York. Okay, um, and the fight went to decision. They give and take. Told y'all a little bit about this fighter. So Isra Girgra, she came out in up north. So she came from Canada down into the States, and got connected with some great trainers, and I believe even Don King's daughter promoted her, right? So like she was a groundbreaking fighter. She had a female promoter that put her in a huge super fight at the time versus Christy Martin, who Don King promoted. So like this was a big deal. These guys out here talking about super and mega. Well, I don't know how much more super and mega you can get than Don King in the business. I don't even think like Eddie Hearn, he trying to make a legacy. Salida, all of them, these guys are trying to make a legacy, right? Bob Aaron is also, big, but I mean Don King, it has a name for a lot of historical reasons, right? And a lot of controversial reasons. So him giving women's boxing a chance at this time was huge. And this fighter now, Isra, got the lottery ticket. So, and I'm not saying a lottery ticket as in luck, but there were a lot of good women out there at the time, and she was able not only to catch a break but catch a big ass break too. So she fought Christy Martin. And what happened was what had happened was in this fight, Christy Martin was so used to running through everybody she faced off with that she thought she was just going to run through Israel. And the thing about Israel is Israel will box your damn ears off, okay? Israel ain't going to really. You see, she got 11 KO. She got KO'd one time, I think was it Marisha Shaw, which was another badass. I'm not sure that, but she got KO'd one time. Okay, it's happened to the best of us, right? The best of us done got sat, our asses done got sat down. Okay, but that just shows, how that we were committed to the game, right? We stepped in there with that with that chance, taking that chance that was going to happen, right? That is real. That's authentic women fighting and fighters. So she has 11 KOs, but Israel really wasn't a banger like that. But so to speak, because I've been in, I would say I'm one of the uh, privileged fighters to have been in the ring with Israel. Israel will bust a grape, but the most she gonna do is crack an egg. Okay. But she'll box your damn ears off. That's for damn sure. This broad could fight. Okay, she can fight. Lovely assistant is let's take us to the next image. Please. Please, please. So at this time, I think when Israel fought Christy Martin, I would say let's see. I think Israel might have been considered, let's see, a wet nose broad. Let's see. Y'all, my notes. We just gonna go as we go. We gonna go as we go as we go. All right. So, um, when she fought Christy. All right. So she fought Christy. 12 fights in. All right. So y'all know Sugar don't talk about sub 10 fighters, but she just made the mark before she fought Christy Martin. And I think Christy Martin had some like 20 over 20 fights. So needless to say, yeah, she was stepping up big time in fighting this champion, this world champion. Come on, lovely assistant, put something that like, come on. You holding up my story. You holding up my story. I'm here. Y'all don't think I'm acting randy. Like I'm not under the influence. I just feel kind of silly tonight. That's all. So this is Christy Martin, and you see her numbers. Now, Christy Martin, besides the fact that she had a couple tomato cans and on her record, a couple Paddingtons, Christy Martin can bang. Okay. Um, Christy Martin wasn't that one pop shot fighter, but when she put them together, if she put them together on your ass, you was going to hit the mat. Okay. You can see her face in this one. I don't know why BoxRec do it. And I feel some type of way because Israel's picture is really nice compared to the rest of our pictures. But look at, I mean, Christy Martin right here, you know, there's so much better pictures of Christy, and they used this one. But okay, so Christy Martin had over 50 fights as a professional, female professional fighter. That's extraordinary numbers. Those are extraordinary numbers, especially at the time. So, people were putting, that she had a lot of backing, and Don King is her promoter. This gal is from West Virginia. Okay, I don't know if y'all know about West Virginia, but that's where the coal mine, they call her the coal miner's daughter. That's where the mines are. Like, it ain't no easy living over there in West Virginia. Okay, so she took that swag and brought it to the world to say that, I'm the coal miner's daughter. I come up rough and tumble, and I'm the baddest broad, and I'm going to step to everyone who they put in front of me, which she did. Um, I think there was a little punkment going on between her and Lucia Riker, because that was a mega match that really should have happened, but never happened, right? Lucia Riker uh, is what was known, or who was known as, the woman with the Thundercat clap, right? The knockout artist. But when you look into her record, that might be she the whole danger thing might have been made up, right? So I mean, they don't really like too much when Sugar start talking like this in women's boxing, but some of our greats, some of our legends, right, were legends and greats because we believe the story, right? But now that we're smarter and we're looking at the receipt, were they all that great? Were they that legendary? And if they were, well, let's hear about the people. Let's hear from the other people on the receipt, the items on the receipt, the people who fought them, right? Because at that time, and it's just coming into now, that's why Sugar has this platform, because only the names had a voice back in the day, right? The opponents, or what y'all would call the B side now, didn't have a voice, didn't have a story to come in. And their story, if they did have a story, the commentator was telling the story, and it was on some joking type stuff, right? They really couldn't come and you know come and express and give their testimony of who they are, and why they're in the ring to prove themselves that night, or on said night of fight. So let's see. Okay. Yeah. Christy Martin looked like she had something like maybe almost 30 fights before she fought Israel, who was 9 wins, one loss, and one draw. Okay, so 11 fights at the time. Okay, and I tell you, that fight, y'all need to go back and watch it, because we throwing it back. That fight is one of women's boxing's greatest fights, I would say. Watch it. Why? Because it does show skill. It does show generalship. It shows all the things that a lot of these new people think was missing, or has been missing from the game, right? Because we don't see it now in the way women fight. We don't see it now, right? The way women are fighting now, or boxing in the ring, some are taking it, some look like some real pros, but it's really style, amateur boxing in a professional ring. Watch this fight, y'all. Watch Christy Martin versus Isra Girgra. This is real professional women's boxing. And this is where I thought this, or not thought, but this is the standard. This is the standard that women's boxing needs to be at, right? To demand the things that, or the numbers that is out there now, right? Unless these broads out here are fighting like these two, Christy Martin versus Isra Girgra. And y'all know I would definitely love to have uh, some video and clips on here, but my we getting flagged left and right for anything we use, and footage is really hard to get now, right? It's harder to get than some good loving out here. Yeah. So I gotta soften up and sweet some people up and give them some of this sugar and convince them to give me some footage. If not, and so far, they being real stingy with the footage. Uh, uh, Lovely assistant. Next image though. Next image. I do have some pictures and clips, right? So this is I know what this image is supposed to look like, and it's a shortened image. So this is how it's looking. This is how it was in the ring, where Christy Martin got, had the blood on the pink jersey, right? And some of the blood was hers, and some of the blood was Isra's. Click to the next image, you guys, please, while I have your attention. Oh, come on. There was supposed to be one where Israel was given a good shot. Oh, how y'all treat me tonight, guy. My boy is behind that Talkin fight. This ain't what these ain't the pictures that I was expecting, right? But I'll use them nonetheless. Um, this is another picture, and it's blurry, but this is a great picture of Isra after she had done um, spent some real good time in the ring, and now she's out and she's doing some glammy stuff. So you see, she cleans up really, really, really well. And there she has her belts, right? So she had 5 belts at the time, 5-time women's uh, professional world champion. So she had people to pay for that belt, and she was able to defend 5 belts. Okay. Um, Lovely assistant. Let me see what else you got. Let's see what else you got. Picture wise. Okay, so this is Christy Martin. And so I wish, it's funny enough. Like there's no images of Christy Martin out there with her belts, all of them sporting all of them like that. But this is her with her Hall of Fame award. Okay, so this is a Hall of Famer, just like Isra. I think Isra is a Hall of Famer as well. Okay, so these are not like these are prestigious awards. Uh, Christy Martin, they call her a trailblazer, which she is one trailblazer, but she did very well in showing how a side of women that a lot of people didn't want the public to see. She did very well, right? So she was in there and she behaved very badly, very, very badly. But it was so bad that cha-ching, it was making the big bucks. And that's what we like. That's what I like, right? Women behaving badly, and we can put some money in our pockets doing it. Okay. So, lovely assistant, is there any other images? Okay, so I want to change the subject now. Changing the subject. Anybody chiming in? Let me know. Let me know who's chiming in. But here we are on the second moving into the next topic. The next topic is we're going into the middleweight rankings, as you would see up here. Okay, so these are the current middleweight rankings. And I don't have the pictures of these. I don't have pictures of all of these broads, right? But we want to talk the names. We want to say the names. So starting from the bottom, we're going to go to the top. So Lolita Muzia, which is out of Africa. Okay. Seeing this fighter fight, Um, Laura Ramsey. I'm back. Okay, so Laura, you good to see you. Okay, you saying you back. I hope you stay with me. We talking about now the middleweight rankings, and I want to hear what you got to say, Laura, about the contenders and the competition and the champions in this division, because it's a hot division right now, where at 140 pounds, 135, because Katie Taylor, the darling, it looked like she on a little hiatus right now since the Serrano fight, because it's been a while. It's been a while since she's been in there. And then Clarissa just went in there with Marshall. So super and mega fights just happened. So everything's kind of low key right now. But this division is bubbling. Okay, so um the pot's bubbling with these names: Lolita Muzia out of Africa, Patricia Bergold, and I think Patricia Bergold, was that the Swiss flag, is out of Switzerland. Uh, Emma Kozin, goodness, what is that? Emma Kozin is, that's not Russian. Y'all tell me, right? Hannah Rankin out of the UK, Mary Spencer out of Canada, Mary Eve de Carré out of Canada, Quebec, Canada. But Mary Spencer is, I think now, is representing Quebec as well. She was a Toronto or Ontario fighter previously. Well, Windsor. Okay, then she's moved around quite a bit. So from Windsor to Toronto to now Quebec. Mary Spencer, Mary Eve de Carré, she's always been in Quebec. They love her there. That's her place. Femke Herman is, what flag is that? You guys. I thought it ain't the flag. It ain't where I thought Femke was from. That's for darn sure. Y'all tell me where. Let me look her up right now. Because Femke earned her money, earned her spot on this. I think Femke should is probably ranked a bit higher now, since she defeated Mary Spencer, but now, with Mary Spencer being a high value, so to speak, contender, she may have gotten some more stars or some more beef on her ranking. So let me see where Femke Herman is from. She's Belgian. Okay, so she's a Belgian fighter, and she put on a great performance against Canadian fighter Mary Spencer just recently. And in my previous episode, I talked about that, where she actually dropped Mary in, was it the second round? I think in the second round, stepped over the John. Okay, and the referee didn't count it, as usual though in Quebec, because like I said, be careful anybody going up to Quebec and fight, especially women. You may not come back the same. You may not come back with your life or your faculties. So I mean, I'm going to keep saying it because too many women have gotten hurt up there. Let's see where, okay, so where is Emma Kozin from? Okay, so she's Slavic, so she's Slovenian. Okay, all right. So these are countries that I fought. I when I was an amateur, more so, I fought women from these countries, and at that time, I would say that their foundation, the foundation of skills that they had were solid, but the thing that stood out the most was the fact that they were so durable. They would take everything that you threw at them, the kitchen sink, bricks, everything, and Sugar had the thunderclap. Okay, So in fighting these broads now, they wasn't going away. They might take two steps back, but they're coming. And as a fighter now, that's how I grew, in knowing that you're not going to you're not going to bust every wall down, right? You're going to have to chip away at that bad boy, and chip away. And then when it gets weak, then you let go the big shots, right? So I mean, these fighters are in the world rankings now, the top 10. Just know that these countries, they come to fight, and they're not no pushover. So then where are we? So FMK, then we have Terry Harper from the UK. And y'all know Terry Harper made a big jump from 132 pounds to now middleweight, which is, I believe, 152, 154. Them weights there. Them the weight there. Yeah, I'm a little bit Jamaican too. So coming out, you, like I said, that range, you guys, right? So Terry Harper was making that weight down at 132. She was doing well, but then she got laid out by Alicia Baumgardner, right? It just, to me, looking at that fight, it was just Terry Harper could not make that weight no more. Okay, it gets to a point as a fighter to where the weight is the thing that defeats you, right? It's not the fighter in front of you, it's what you did to get to the fight. It's what defeats you, so the cutting of the weight, the lack of water, those things, you slowly kill yourself, right? And people say, "Oh, I'm killing myself." No, like literally, a fighter, like, just know this. A lot of these sayings that you guys hear out here, I'm dying, I'm slowly killing myself. Like, that's what a fighter lives, right? When you have to make your weight, and that's not, I mean, you're or a weight that you've signed the contract on, and it may be 15 pounds lower, 20 pounds or 10, maybe even 4 sometimes, that is tough. It's hard. Why? Because your body needs water, your body needs food, your body needs these things that you're sacrificing in order to perform. And sorry, y'all, take a sip. That was juice, okay? Um, these things now take away from how dangerous you can be, or you are, not can be, right? Because what? So Carice, Taz, the golden child, then chimed in. Talking about, hey, with the hand waving in. Okay, hey Taz. Hey, what's up? Hey, y'all. Taz, what you think about this middleweight division that you see on the screen, right? So I see y'all showing up, but I want y'all to talk out here. What you think about these fighters, right? You're fighting out here. Do any of these fighters at middleweight um to suit your fancy? Do you like any of their styles? Like, let's talk about what the climate is out here. Women fighter, with y'all active women fighters, who do you think is the most dangerous on the list? Laura and Brooke, y'all chime in, tell me what y'all thinking out here. And of course, this the Sugar Show, I'm gonna tell y'all what I think. So we had Terry Harper calling some names now. Terry Harper want to be important up here as a middleweight, but to me, Terry Harper, you I don't I don't see where you're making your own way, or you're proving why we should pay attention to you now as a middleweight, right? You were a big deal as a lightweight, and this ain't amateurs no more. Okay, so you can't ride off that broomstick that you came in from the Amis, right? We grown up now, we grown. So as a middleweight, Terry Harper, um i don't I don't see where your vibe is selling, it, unless you make some stars out of some other contenders, right? um it would be interesting to see you fight a fighter like Mary Spencer, um uh Femke, these other ones, even Lolita. Let's see how you. She got 2 stars, but them African fighters, that's one thing they got is heavy hands, right? Those African fighters are they got the stone, they got that, whatever yams and whatever they eating over there, you feel it in these. Boxing, women's boxing channel. Hey, baby boo, chiming in, talking about they're 154, not middle. Right. I said 152 to 154. Why you always like you always riding me, but the wrong way, right? Give a girl a break, right? I said they were 154. So this is middle, junior middle. Like, this is all the middle of the weights, okay? Um, and I call it middle too, because like I said, women boxers, we're not like men. So I'm naming it by range, right? Not by actual weight classes. Because the range is like, um, let's see, Katie Taylor, I would say Katie Taylor, she's light, right? So she fights from lightweight to super lightweight, and she may even touch uh junior junior welter, right? Super lightweight or junior welter, that's just about the same thing. But yeah, though from those from that range, that's how I talk about women's boxing. I think that's the most realistic way to talk about women's boxing, because people there talking about, oh, that's not her weight class. Yes, the hell it is. Yeah, she could fit that shoe, right? Because we had to go all up a couple weight classes and down a couple weight classes to get that money, to get the opportunities, to get the competition. um Women's boxing channel comes in saying, hi all. Okay, so giving all the champs that's in the building their props. Thank you, Women's Boxing Channel. Women's Boxing Channel also says, no, I ain't only been here a second. I know you only been here a second, and you coming in giving me a hard time, but not the hard time I want, right? Let's not make this difficult. Let's make this fun. So, um, back to this ranking. Okay, so then we got Natasha Jonas, and y'all know, if y'all don't know, now y'all know. Um, I am a fan of Natasha Jonas, right? I'm not a fan of the things that she says, right? But I'm a fan of her in how she has developed as a woman in women's boxing. Okay, so she was down there at 132, and she did fight Terry Harper at 132, and Terry Harper beat her. You know what I'm saying? And then she got laid out by Vivian Obanoff, who just got some serious time in prison for the murder of her husband, her late husband. So and Obanoff was one of those that came from out the blue, and not only, it wasn't a, oh, she won by decision. She like let Natasha know, this ain't your weight class, baby boo, right? Because she flattened Natasha in that fight. So To me, Natasha Jonas, she is Olympic pedigree. She's an Olympic silver medalist. Okay. Silver medalist at a lower division, though. And I always say styles make fights, and you're a different person at all these different weights. I want you guys to understand, as a fighter, especially as a woman fighter, right? You're not coming in the same uh, in with weight on, and you're not coming in the same with after you've depleted yourself with weight off. There's a different approach. So Natasha Jonas says right now, she has the handle of the knife, and she mentioned something earlier about this Terry Harper, people wanting her to fight Terry Harper right away. She said um she ain't fighting no damn Terry Harper right now because she didn't like the way Terry damn treated her when they were at the lower weight and Terry had the handle of the knife, right? I always tell y'all out here, it's a catty world in women's boxing. So Terry Harper must have thought that she was going to be on top of on top of Natasha Jonas' head uh, for all times, and now she's seeing that Natasha Jonas has she has the hardware. She has the thing that everybody wants right now, which are the belts. Um, then this is let's see. Women's Boxing Channel comes in saying Gallagher chucked Jonas' towel in after she got knocked down 3 times in a row, I believe. Yeah, that was versus Obanov, right? So, yeah, her coach, Gallagher better have thrown the damn towel in. She she got dropped 3 times, I believe. And that's strange because if you get dropped a certain amount of times, the referee gonna wave it off, depending on where you are, though. So in that fight, to be quite honest, I saw where they could not believe that Obanov was doing that to Natasha Jonas, and they were trying to give Natasha Jonas every chance they could possibly give her to hold on and survive, because with these shenanigans going on out here in women's boxing, a lot of the times, especially previously, all a favorite fighter had to do was end the fight on her feet, and she knew she was going to get the nod. She knew she was going to get that win. Okay, so now if there's a climate of you may not know, like you never know what you're going to get, right? And I like it that way. I really do. That means that you have a real fighting chance in there. And fighters who are A side or favorites know that, you may not have, you don't have, your insurance may not be as strong as you think it is when you step in that ring. Lovely assistant, is there any more? Are there any more images? Oh, about my father's business. What up? What up, lioness? Oh, what up about my father's business? How you doing? Hey, how you doing? Um, I am here talking about the women's middleweight division. Uh, on the screen right now are the top contenders right now in that middleweight division. But before switching over, the top name in the division is Cecilia Breckhus, who was the undisputed welterweight champion, and she held that title for a very long time. She held that title for over 10 years. So that was very suspect, especially, you know, Cecilia Brecas was during my time. And I know for sure Cecilia Brecas didn't fight the contender she should have fought. I say this, her career, her career is made, right? That she had that protection. Of course, she fought people that she should have beat, and they moved her very well. But she didn't really give the welterweight division a you know a real try, because there were great contenders out there, me being one of them, who would have made mega matches or super matches with her, and she didn't take it. She took the safe road. And so now she's a bag lady. Yes. Y'all hate when I sing that, but yeah. She out here trying to find a home now, because due to her doing that punk stuff, she has no real legacy. So right now she's trying to find a home. She's trying to find someone. She's back now in the ranking. She just fought a fighter, last name Portillo. I was able to watch the fight a little bit, and just more and more, it's looking like the normal shenanigans that Cecilia Brecas always comes out with, right? Fighter comes in, and a fighter of Cecilia's caliber, girl, you in there with the fighter that got the sketches on, right? Like, she showed up looking like she was getting ready to take a boxing class, an aerobic boxing class. Not downing this fighter at all. I'm not dissing her, so to speak, to say she can't fight. She gave it all. She gave it all she could, but this fighter should not be in there fighting the caliber of fighter Cecilia Brecas is. And Cecilia knows this. Cecilia people them know this. We know this. And it's some bullshit, right? It's some bull jive. And now, because that fight has gotten her active again and it was a win, um, she's now ranked number one over fighters that have been active. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. These are the things that these are the reasons why I have this platform, okay? Because women fighters are fighting out here. Women fighters are training. They're working for their opportunities, and these things happen, right? And in this happening, um it takes money out of a contender's pocket. It does, right? Because if Cecilia gets up top again, she ain't fighting nobody. She's not going to be fighting anybody, right? Her people are just going to pay for them belts. No one's getting paid. At the end of the day, this is for women's boxing. Why? Because it's an industry that I've devoted my life to. And it's an industry that everyone except for women fighters have made money in. Check, check, right? The look at the promoters who put on these super and mega matches that just happened over the summertime. These are male promoters. And yes, maybe uh let's say maybe 8 fighters made some good money. 4 fighters made some really good money from these. No, 6 fighters made some really good money from these past mega matches. I know for sure, right? So I know Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor, they made some good money. I know Alicia Bumgarner and Michaela Meyer, they made some good money. And I know Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall made some good money. So 6 broads out of the hundreds of broads that we are made some decent money this year. Can we say that about any other women boxers in the industry? We talk about this pay thing, right? We talk about the pay that happens, and who should have been on the undercard of these super and mega matches weren't even on the undercard, which are other great, good champions, good contenders that could have really put on a show and brought more money making potential, more money making contenders to the table so everyone can eat. Okay. Not to mention, the commentary and all of that stuff. Like I said, everyone has made money from women's boxing except for the women boxers. Some bullshit. So, Women's Boxing Channel says, so glad to see Femke Herman beat Mary Spencer the way she did after she got clean KO'd by Marshall. Yeah, so she came back well. And I was happy for the broad, right? She's still a broad. I think she's about 33 years old. I was happy for Femke because they were low-key using Femke now as a stepping stone, a high-end loser for Mary Spencer now to get into big money contention. Okay? And what Femke said is, no, I'm not an opponent. Bitch, I'm the gatekeeper. And the gate's closed. You can't get past me. That's what she did. Good job. Good job. Because, I would say also styles make fights, but that's the standard. Femke Herman has set the standard, right? Because you're only as strong as the weakest link in anything. Anything. You're only as strong as your weakness. People don't know that, right? People don't understand, right? So if we build on, or if we face our weaknesses, we don't have nothing else to worry about. This is inside the ring and outside the ring. In life, you guys, in life. I want y'all to get this because I learned this as a fighter. Focus on the parts of you that you're scared to see, you're scared to reveal. Focus on that. Feed it, grow it, and use it. Okay? It's all right. It's all right. Because a lot of us out here, we're not even checking for it. Like, a lot of people are just so conscious about things that they feel weak about. And what y'all don't realize is the world doesn't see it. The world doesn't see it. So believe in yourself. Always bet on you. So yeah, I'm glad that Femke Herman bet on herself and she came out with that win. And I suppose now she's a stronger contender. She might get an opportunity to get back up there. Femke would be a good. I'd like to see her fight Natasha Jonas. That would be good, because Natasha Jonas is the hitter in these rankings. Women's Boxing Channel said Brækhus had 24 defenses and was purposely prevented breaking Joe Louis' equal record of 24 in Tulsa versus McCaskill, part 1. So I think Women's Boxing Channel is saying that Cecilia Brækhus had 24 world title defenses. That's a lot. That means her people then were paying the bill, right? Paying the bills, because each belt costs money to defend. Okay? And so they were paying the bills she was defending. And her last defense, I suppose now, money was running low, and McCaskill people them said, because McCaskill has some money behind her, they said, well, we'll start paying the bill. And I know for sure that is how the titles or the belts passed hands from Cecilia Breakus to Jessica McCaskill. So, Women's Boxing Channel says she won that first fight versus McCaskill, even though she lost in McCaskill 2, part 2. I do agree that Cecilia Breakus, I say this a lot. Jessica McCaskill versus Cecilia Breakus, part 1. Cecilia Breakus actually won that fight. That is the one fight I know. I've seen that Cecilia Breakus actually won. And they took it from her. Wah, wah, wah. You know what I'm saying? That's what, Karma's a Karma's a real bee. She's a baddie. She's a bad bitch. Karma's the baddest bitch. Why? Because there were so many people that Cecilia did that to. Cecilia robbed so many people. And I mean, funny enough, it was McCaskill who ended up taking, taking the win, robbing her of her belts. It just tickles me a little bit. That's all. Um, Women's Boxing Channel says Matchroom paid Breakus bills. Um, Matchroom paid Breakus bills versus McCaskill. So, what you saying, baby? I can't decipher what you saying with that statement. But yeah, Matchroom paid that money, right? That was some good money to both fighters, and I would have liked to have seen a couple undercards, maybe two more undercards with some great contenders in another division or a division closer to the division. So a junior welterweight, good matchup, right? Put in Mary McGee on there, Kelly Ray's on there. One of those, junior Chantel Cameron, one of those bras that were in that tournament thing. If that, built those girls on there too, that would have been a great thing. I'm thinking about it now, and I don't really I can't think of some new contenders in that weight division that jumps out to me that I would really want to see the matchups of. But this is what I'm saying. They have to build. There has to be. We have to make. Y'all have to build more. We have to be interested in more than what they feed in us. Okay, and in doing that, and even just knowing she may not be a winner per se, but knowing a quality fighter out here and wanting to see her fight and supporting her when she does fight, meaning watching her fights, talking about her, helps the whole industry, right? And then just help her, helps all of us. um Women's Boxing Channel says you can't wah versus Breakus loss. It was shenanigans. I can, and I did. Wah. Yes, I did. You want to know why I did that? Because she had a taste of her own medicine. That's the wah. Yeah, because it didn't taste so good, right? It didn't taste so good to her because I know she knew she won the fight. She won that fight. I know she won that fight, but she lost. and she gets a taste of how that feels. Um, and rightfully so, because she was the one that gave that bad taste to a whole bunch of other people and stopped their, in essence, stopped their careers, right? Because they weren't able to get past that, right? She could have made, she could have helped others move on and turn and made them great contenders, but instead she turned them into opponents. An opponent, once you become an opponent, your money gets real shallow, right? You ain't gonna be, you ain't gonna have much longer before, you know, you gotta you gotta sell your soul, right? We all came in this game to be a contender and be a champion, not an opponent. So when you do that to somebody else, when you do that to another broad, right, you're taking a part of her life, a part of her soul. That's karma, right? You got to respect everyone in this game. Even when you bring them in to beat them, you got to respect them, because she came because she wanted to be a champion, right? It is what it is. Women's Boxing Channel says Breckus was contracted with Matchroom for those two fights versus McCaskill. Yeah, great. Good. Good. Right? Um, and then what's the relationship between Breckus and Matchroom now? Right? Right? Because they brought in Breckus as the champion. They say, yeah. Yeah, come fight. Yeah, we're promoted. Yeah. Now what's the relationship? Was her last fight Matchroom? I think she's with De La Hoya them now. I mean, let me know. About My Father's Business comes in and says, what course of action will it take for women's boxing to get the place where it needs to be, do you think? Action for the benefits of women boxing and y'all pay grade, if that makes sense. The action that needs to be taken is something that a lot of us from the previous generation are saying now. We need to develop a women's professional boxing league. There needs to be a league. We need to take it out of those hands now and bring it back to us, where we can invest in ourselves. We can get people to invest directly in us in moving up in the rankings of the league, instead of putting it in a sanctioning situation. Oh, this is a sanctioned fight. This is a sanctioned, because boxing is a poor gal's game, just like it was a poor man's game at one time, right? But now it's the women that can get the money behind them. Whoever has the broad that has the gold actually starts making the rules, and that doesn't have much longevity for us in women's boxing, right? Because we don't have much gold to work with, right? So the few women that come in with money behind them, whatever, that's good. But once you get what you get out of the industry, y'all ain't boxing forever. Y'all leave everybody else back broke. It's not right. Everybody should make money. Everybody, there should be a standard of money that a woman boxer knows she can make in this industry, just like in men's boxing. It has to make sense. It has to start making sense for us again, right? And it's not, unless you're jumping in to be an opponent nowadays. The contenders are fizzling out because they're no one No one's putting on fights for people who, I mean, they have the fighters that have jumped out of the Olympics and are Olympians and this, but women's boxing was an industry where tough, women came from the tough women contests. Women came from bar boxing, from bare knuckle boxing, from the strip club. Like, like, let's call a thing, right? When we had the amateurs now, it became something, right? It became something now that I guess you can have some respect doing. And then, I mean, women's professional boxing was always there, but now this amateur bullshit, because that's what I'm calling it, right? Because amateurs don't do nothing for pros. You could be this phenomenal amateur, but when you turn into a professional boxer, in men and women, you got to fight your way through the sharks. A lot of top amateurs fizzle out because professional boxing is a different animal. It's a different, smaller gloves. Okay, the ref ain't stopping the fight as much as it does in amateurs. Stop, box, right? Like, this shit goes on, right? You are getting headbutted, you are getting elbowed, right? I mean, the ref is, I mean, the refs are cheating in amateurs too, but you get hit by the ref too. I didn't tell y'all this, but low key, if you don't know what you're doing in there, the refs, when they go in, they'll say break, boom, hit your ass, right? Break, push you back, while they keep their favorite here. So you step back and have to restart over. You lose, you lose your positioning. You lose your angle. They see that too. Refs are professionals, so they know how to manipulate a situation. They know where to step in order to cancel things that you're doing. And people don't see that when they watch boxing. I want y'all to start watching the ref, especially in women's boxing. There was a great fighter named Oksana Castillo. I need to feature her, and I will. Look it up, Women's Boxing Channel. I know you may not like her, but look her up. I think she would have been a great contender and probably been one to possibly beat T-Rex. I mean, I'm just saying, we want to challenge the best, right? And Oksana Castillo, who is now well over 200 pounds, was a great middleweight contender, junior to middle, junior middle to middle, super middleweight contender. She fought Cecilia Brækhus. And in her match between Cecilia Brækhus, it was the ref that helped Cecilia Brækhus beat Oksana Castillo. So it was two people versus one in that ring. These are the shenanigans, right? And I'm watching the fight and just disgusted. Just disgusted. Because they're doing it right in front of our faces. But it would take a seasoned eye, right? It would take someone who knows how to articulate what's going on to let the public know what the ref is doing to Oksana, and how the ref is protecting Cecilia Brækhus, right? So Oksana is how can I describe Oksana Castillo? Oksana Castillo is she's a fighter banger. Yeah. So Oksana Castillo, she has her great fundamentals as a boxer, but she's not a boxer per se. She knows how to put her punches together. She knows how to apply pressure. She knows how to um she knows how to manipulate space in that ring. And that's why I was so excited about this fighter, right? Because she knew how to corner these track star fighters, right? Cecilia Brackets was also a track star slash boxer at the same time in the ring. She's going to run, run, run. She's going to stand there and bop, 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 and then run and then stand there again, bop, 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 and run. Yeah. So I mean, she was the 1.0 style, the first version of that Katie Taylor styles, Speedy Gonzalez style that you see now, right? So Oksana Castillo now knew how to cut the ring up, so these fighters like that really had nowhere to run. She was good at it. And so I would still love to see her fight any of those contenders who were on that list that um I showed the viewers previously, and that I went over with the listeners. Y'all heard the names previously in the show. Um, but alas, I think Castillo, her body looked like she had a baby. I tell you, as a woman behaving badly, when you behave badly and you got to sit out for 9 months, them pounds, they pack on a lot. And it's so hard to get that weight off. You really have to be determined, and your body changes as a woman fighter that has had kids, right? So yeah, you're like I'm a mommy, so my hips, I had narrow hips after I had um my baby. My hips spread out, and so I had to work really hard to get my body and my shape back, my abs and everything back where I was able to be coordinated in my movement again, and I was able to hold my balance, and I was able to, contract my muscles so my punches would pop again. It was tough. And if you're not mentally strong to fight through that, to get back in the ring, yeah, you either you're going to stay where you're at, where Oksana Castillo is, damn near, like she's up there. She's like 250 pounds or something like that fighting. She still looks good. She still can fight at that weight, but that weight doesn't suit her, right? She's not a 6 foot, over 6 foot tall woman that her body can hang, can hold that weight, right? And she still looks marketable, and she's still moving, and she's still looking athletic. She looks like, you know she looked like, all right, I'm not even going to say it, right? But she looks like she needs to lose that weight. Let's just say that, right? There are some baddies who are bigger, who are heavy, right? And it suits them. I have nothing against my big broads. There was a fighter named Cindy Zamudio back in the day. She was the biggest broad I've ever seen in the ring. And I used to love watching her fight because she showed you how to fight like a big girl. Another big one, another big lady in the ring, big baddie, Keisha Snow, big heavyweight baddie. Carlette Ewell, big baddie. Uh, Goodness, that I gotta do a show on women heavyweights. That's what I'm gonna do. Y'all don't steal my idea out there, because I know what y'all I I seen what the climate is out here now. So don't take my idea, right? But yeah, there's some big broads out here in all shapes and sizes, but you got to know what your range is. And this 200 plus for Oksana Castillo, it ain't it, boo boo. It ain't it for you. You got to lose that weight. You got to lose that um apple bottom thing. Like you gotta lose that extra weight in your caboose. Okay. Um, Women's Boxing Channel talking about two wrongs don't make a right, but two rights make a left. You know I don't go by the rules, WBC, right? Two wrongs make a right. I suppose you talking about the karma that I just love, the karma, the pie that Cecilia Brækhus is eating right now. She got to eat the pie. She deserved what she get. She does. Um, she's a crone now, long in the tooth, and I seen her. And I am low-key rooting for her. I am. This fight with Portillo, I watched this fight the other day. And though, you know, I know all that that's happening with that Portillo fight. You know, they put Portillo in as a measure to see if what she can do now to change her style in there. Cecilia Brækhus is not hopping around as much as she used to anymore. She's willing to stand there, but I think she might have been willing to stand there versus Portillo, because Portillo is a smaller, is naturally a smaller fighter. Portillo actually fights at 125 pounds, and this fight was up in the middleweight 150s. So, you know, an extra 25 pounds. Portillo wasn't carrying no power up there with her to for Cecilia Brækhus to be wary or leery about, right? So Cecilia seemed to be more settled as a crone, as a bigger fighter. She wasn't running. She boxed very well versus Portillo, but I can't get too excited because Portillo is not a contender that I would be like, okay, you know, Portillo is starting out herself. You know what I'm saying? Portillo would have been a good match for someone like Sonia Drilling, who we want to talk about later. Um, you know, but I think, I think, I think Cecilia Brækhus should have came out fighting Patricia Burgle like she initially tried to earlier this year. I think Cecilia Brækhus should have rematched Chevelle Halbach now that Chevelle Halbach is a dragon. She may have a better chance of you know, slaying the dragon. You know, I think she should have, I think her matchmaker, her team should have done a lot better in how they're bringing her back, because it's looking even more cringe for Cecilia to be taken seriously. But I mean, they paid their money, because that was money, to get her ranked above fighters who have been actively boxing at this weight. So you know, it's just shenanigans, and it's not even strange anymore. It's blatant shenanigans, and no one's talking about it. Um, So Women's Boxing Channel says, Brækhus kept ignoring Layla McCarter's request to challenge her undisputed. Brækhus said she was asking too much. Asking Cecilia Brækhus to fight is too much for her punk ass. People think that I come on here talking shit. I'm not talking, like, I'm really not. This ain't shit that I'm talking. This is real. Right? I stood on that broad's doorstep. You a fighter, you come in this game, fight, right? And don't fight people who are made for you to beat. Fight contenders, extend yourself, challenge yourself. You have these belts that signify that you are the best and baddest broad doing this, and you're lying to everybody. And you have no conscience about that, right? That's like I'm gonna tell y'all what it's like. That's like you about to have brain or heart surgery, and you go in to meet the doctor. This is before they cut your chest open, or they cut your skull. They cut your skull open, and you say, "Hey doc, I'm so glad with all your recognition and all the plaques that you have in your wall. I'm glad you're the one who's doing my surgery." And that motherfucker says, "Oh, I'm sorry," but that motherfucker says, "I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV." Wipe him down and get him ready for surgery. Like, how you gonna feel going into surgery knowing that the doctor, you done found out that those plaques and accolades were just something that were props on a TV show. I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV. That is Cecilia Brækhus, right? She she's not like she has not fought the opposition that she should have fought to justify this legacy that supposedly she has. And so that's why she's in the position she is now. That's why ain't nobody looking at her. Right? Because she's not even a name that anyone cares to have on their receipt. Y'all, no one out there is seeing that. No one cares to have Cecilia Brækhus's name on their receipt. Otherwise, they would have all been clamoring to fight her. Right? That's how that goes. Women's Boxing Channel says, and Layla McCarter at that. I mean, yeah, Layla McCarter been in this game for so long. I remember when Layla McCarter was somebody that people thought was a slouch, was a pushover, and that broad turned into a badass broad, then a badass crone, and now sleeping dragon. Nobody wants to touch her with a 10-foot pole. Women's Boxing Channel says, yes, Brækhus' promoter was Oscar last fight with matchmakers Roberto Diaz and Xavier Razzo. So I mean, I know what I'm talking about. I still got my toe in it. I still got stick my toe in the pool sometimes, right? I know the bad lady still trying to find a home. So Oscar Dam found her some, gave her a little place to lay her head, and gave her some shelter. I hope Oscar makes her and Franchon Cruz fight, even though Franchon is at them higher weights. But, you know, that fight should and could happen, right? Franchon Cruz versus Cecilia Brækhus, why not? Because Oscar them has Franchon. If not, the names that I've called out there, out here in middleweights, contenders. Who else? Who y'all know the broad that I'm always talking about, and she's damn near collected all this dust on the shelf. Raquel Miller, right? Like collecting dust, and that's a fighter who I think would be a good contender to bring some money into anybody in that middleweight division. Her style, the way she is, the way she talks is good for women's boxing because it'll sell. And that's what we want. And she could fight a little bit too. Women's Boxing Channel says, yes, Brækhus' promoter was Oscar. Oh, I already read that. Women's Boxing Channel says, you spoke about pregnancy. Question. Do you think there have been a lot of female fighters aborted so they could carry on their careers? Think? I know that, baby. That's the dark side of women's boxing. That happens. Women's sports. You know what I'm saying? Women's sports. People don't understand that a lot of women athletes sacrifice their babies for the belief in a career or opportunities that they think they have ahead of them or what they have ahead of them. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. That's a skeleton in the closet that maybe one of us one day will share with the public. It is interesting. You know what I'm saying? Um, Abortion has a very controversial, very controversial air to it, right? Y'all know Roe versus Wade just got overturned. I mean, that's a big deal for women, especially women athletes, right? Because that means, you don't get a choice now whether, after behaving a little badly and you get caught up, you don't get a choice now whether you sit out or not. Your ass finna sit out. Unless, you do a back alley thing, which is another dark side of being a woman, another dark side of being a female athlete, because a lot of women out here have messed themselves up with these back alley abortions, right? People underestimate a woman athlete. People underestimate a woman fighter. This is a personal, it's a personal feeling about that issue. Um, there's a lot a woman has to think about when she decides, or when, motherhood comes knocking at her door. There's a lot. It's not like a man where I'm going to be a dad, and he's himself for the rest of his life. When motherhood comes to you, you have to change, right? And you have to find a way to change, but still keep a part of yourself, and try to keep as much of yourself as possible, right? But it's hard. It's hard because you have another person now. That person is yours, right? This baby is yours now if you decide to keep that child. So it's now you're thinking about what your decisions are no longer your decisions. You're thinking about how your decisions are you have to think about how your decisions are gonna affect this child. I commend mothers who box, because you know what you're putting on the line as a mother, going in there, and you've signed your life on the dotted line. You got to be sure you're going to come back out and be good and okay for your children, for those babies, for those people who love you, for those people who look at you. I remember coming home from a fight one time, and my baby was about 2 years old, and didn't know mommy went away to fight per se, but just knew mommy went away and come back. And when I heard his footsteps pop, 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 pop around the corner, and he saw me down the hall, and he said, "Mommy!" and ran to me. Oh, that was everything. It was everything, So you change. Um, what I have to say about it, we went over the, Shannon O'Connell thing where you want to keep as much as yourself as possible. So you want to bring, that child either becomes a part of the game or you leave the game, right? That child gonna come with you into it. Another memory I have is when I was real young, greenback, not even wet nose. Wet nose meaning, you guys are those who haven't are new to the sugar show. Like I have these terms, and y'all gonna learn how we talk to talk, right? You know, the a greenback is an amateur, right? Because an amateur hasn't really uh hasn't really tasted blood as a pro, right? Or drawn blood as a pro. So greenback, you've been in a fight, but have you been in a real fight? you know and then you got the wet nose broad coming out, right? So she, new to the game, nose wide open, wet nose, running nose, that like you haven't been seasoned enough. You gullible. You fall for everything. You wet nose in here, but you hungry and you want to fight, and you feel like you feel like you got it all. You feel like you got it all figured out. Wet nose broad, right? And drop the wet nose, you become a broad in the game, right? So you prowling the jungle. You dangerous out here now because you're not wet nose no more. You know the climate. You know the dangers. You know how to lie, right? You know how to finesse. You know how to really behave badly because, you know, it ain't against the rules unless you get caught, right? A wet nose follows the rules, and abroad, now she know what this game really means. And then that broad turns into a crone. A crone means you've been around long enough. You're getting long in the tooth, right? They call you old, and you probably are. But you know what you're doing in the ring, win or lose, right? You know how to operate, and it's not just a fight anymore. You're performing. You know how to make that money, and you're dangerous. Crone. Then the crone turns into a dragon. And that dragon, you know what a dragon is. A dragon is thousands of years old. So that been in this game. A dragon been around for a long time. And now the dragon breathes fire. But the dragon stays asleep because not many people want to wake a sleeping dragon. Because dragons are very dangerous. So yeah, I mean, these are the terminologies, right? I said that to say this, it's the development of the woman. That's what women's boxing is. That's why we have fans. That's why that it's not about the records, y'all. It's about watching this woman develop into the baddie she is. Women's Boxing Channel says Franchon apparently is lined up to fight Hannah Gabriel's next. That sounds pretty interesting. Thank you, Women's Boxing Channel. With that matchup, I really think Hannah Gabriel has a good chance of winning that fight. Franchon Cruz has a good pedigree. She was a top amateur. Um, and she made her pro debut against Clarissa Shields, right? Because there was no one, I suppose, there was no crone that they would risk fighting Clarissa Shields or Broad, they would risk Clarissa Shields fighting. So they brought Franchon into the game. I think if I was Franchon, I don't think I would have made that move. I would have took my chances being a contender long term against Clarissa Shields, right? Because now it's like a shadow, right? She turned pro because Clarissa Shields turned pro. She's in, now she's in her shadow, right? No one really thinks of Franchon Cruz except for the fact that she fought Clarissa Shields, even though Franchon Cruz is, I think she's an undisputed light heavy. Is it light heavy or super middleweight champion? You guys tell me, right? Franchon has a style where I would say she doesn't have as much punch output as Jessica McCaskill, but I think they have that unconventional style. They're alike in that way, where the punches that are coming to you are unconventional. They're each punch, or all the punches have bad intentions behind them, so you have to navigate that terrain. You have to control that fighter, that person in front of you, if you're going to step in there with Franchon Cruz or Jessica McCaskill, right? You have to be skilled enough, and that's how you'll win, in showing the generalship, the tactics, and the strategies that you need to contain that wild style. Women's Boxing Channel says, although Sky put out an article suggesting Cruz wants Hammer also, I seen that. I did see it. I personally like to see either. Both make great challenges. I've seen that. I don't think Christina Hammer has any intention on fighting no damn Franchon Cruz. Yeah. Franchon Cruz is a good fighter. She's an undisputed champion, but she has not made enough noise within herself to make it interesting for a fighter like Christina Hammer to want to fight her. I mean, I saw her like stepping up to Christina Hammer and trying to talk, and Hammer's looking at her like, is this the valet that's going to collect my bags, bitch? It's like like you could. Christina looked at her like, how cute. You want to fight who, me? Who are you again? Yeah, you're a champion. Well, good for you. Like, Brooke D said this, like, in the show that she came on the Sugar Show with. Your shit ain't ready yet. As much as Franchon Cruz has, these titles and these belts, her shit ain't ready yet, because she has to now build some, some make some noise behind her name. She has to make some noise about her receipt, and what and what she puts on her receipts, right? I mean, if I was Franchon Cruz, I'd step to Savannah Marshall too. I'd step to Savannah Marshall. Because Savannah Marshall's big enough to move up. And Franchon Cruz is small enough to go down, to make it interesting. You know what I mean? Like, I would do that if I was Franchon. And then go from there, right? There just needs to just be more talk behind her name before any of that. Um, let's see. Oh, Michael Orr chimes in saying, hi, Sugar. Hey, Mike. You don't come around and see me no more. That's okay. I'm gonna get me a new man out here. Psych. You know you hold a special place in my heart. But I'm missing you, Mike. Michael Orr says, sorry, I'm late. You know, I'm not going to hold it against you, and I'm not going to be mad because you always show up for me, Michael Orr. It's just that you just don't see me as much as you used to, and I miss it. So, Michael Orr says Cruz is undisputed super middle. So that's a good title to, after them girls, like ain't no noise happening up in that division. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no noise being made in super middle. So she's safe up there. That's where I am. I just feel like if Franchon Cruz really wanted the smoke, she would make a bigger fire. Women's Boxing Channel comes around and says, I think Hammer would fight her because it's for undisputed. That brings contracts and money. You're right, Women's Boxing Channel. I agree with you with that one. Look at that. Look at us agreeing on shit. Huh? I do agree on with you on that. If I was Hammer, I would snatch them. I would snatch them belts. Not to say that it wouldn't be a tough fight, but I think Hammer has more star quality than Franchon Cruz. And so politically, it would be a fight that Hammer would have more leverage in winning, if you guys know what I mean, right? She has more leverage to pull um a decision, unless Franchon Cruz knocks her out. But I'm gonna tell y'all this: Christina Hammer is the one fighter who got knocked out in her fight, who got stopped in her fight and still won the fight. So good luck with that one. Like I said, you may have to kill this one, kill the queen, bury her, throw that prayer water so she don't rise up out the grave and snatch the win from you. You know what I mean? Um, Michael Orr says, I'm always watching. Okay, then. All right. Then I'm always put on for you, Mike. And I hope a lot of you guys out here are always watching too. Like, subscribe, and share this sugar. Please, please. Like, subscribe, and share. And tell me what y'all want to talk about. And like I said, you guys listen to me. It's not about talking about women's boxing per se and what these records are and who ha ha, right? You can ask me a simple question just about being a woman who boxes and questions about life. Like I share parts of my life. Like I can give perspective from a baddie, who has gone through life and has done things, the unconventional way, as opposed to them goodies out there, right? So I got some stories that I might want to share with y'all, right? Ask me. So Women's Boxing Channel said Franchon would get hurt versus Savannah. Why? Because Franchon is slow, and that plays into Marshall's hands. You believe in that, Marshall? I gotta hide ya. I gotta hide ya. I gotta hide ya. Right? I believe that Savannah Marshall is one of the hardest punching women out right now. Okay, so she does have that. She does have that story on her, right? That's real. Of course Franchon Cruz would get hurt, but Franchon is a Baltimore broad. Let me tell you about B-more broads. They don't lay down. Okay. Baltimore, stand up. One of the, I mean, Suge grew up a little bit in Baltimore too. You know, I went to one of the worst schools in Baltimore, like one of the baddest schools in Baltimore at the time. You know, so that's where Sugar gets a lot of her moxie from. I grew up on. I used to live on North Avenue. Y'all be more people out there, you know, like that's one of the gritty, grimiest places here on the East Coast, right? So I'm gonna tell you about Franchon Cruz a little bit from what I understand about this broad. She's a B-more broad, Baltimore broad. Okay, they don't lay down. The culture of Baltimore is fight, right? You're fighting. It's an aggressive um climate, atmosphere. You gonna always get tried anywhere you go, right? And Franchon looks like she calls herself the diva, right? And she carries herself like a diva. And when you in Baltimore, you carry yourself like that, you bring in attention, they gonna be like, hoo ha, that bitch ain't bad. She can't fight. So they gonna try her. So know this. Don't let that. I always say, don't let the smooth taste fool you. Franchon is a fighter. She can fight. She don't. She ain't clean like the rest of them, but she'll she'll test Savannah Marshall's heart. She will, because Savannah Marshall is that gentlewoman from the UK, right? Even though I loved it when she told Clarissa she gonna wind her neck in. That was one of my favorite quotes in the pre-fight presser, right? Um, and I'm not sure where Marshall's from. Is she a Leeds gal? I'm not sure where she's from. Okay, but I know just by the way Franchon Cruz fights that she'll test the heart of Marshall, right? The will. She ain't gonna lay down. Yeah, she'll get hurt, but so, right? And that's where, you know, that's where a lot of it goes with us women behaving badly. We get hurt in there, but so the fight still goes on. We gonna come back. We gonna get back up. Okay. Um, Women's Boxing Channel says if Cruz fought without her wig, she'd be a bantamweight. Now, what you not going to do is Joan on my girl's weave, okay? Yes, it was not the best choice of hair style to go into the ring to fight, but she learned the hard way, didn't she? Right? She learned it the hard way. The worst thing, like I don't know, the worst thing was the I mean, and what was it? Martinez? That's who Franchon fought. Mar Marte what I think they even questioned, did they end up finding out if Martinez was transgendered or not? Because that makes a difference. Um there's a there's a big controversy now that WBC is bringing in or looking to encourage transgendered fighters to come in to the playing field, which, you know, there's a big deal. The transgendered uh, individuals coming into women's sports is a big deal because it is said that, you know, they still have the transgendered women still have the structural benefits of the latter gender, that and it makes the playing field unfair, right? So I think Martinez was, there was a controversy that she may have been transgendered, and just a whole bunch of stuff that followed that fight. Um, oh, it was Jimenez. Sorry, it was Jimenez, not Martinez. Sorry. Thank you, Women's Boxing Channel. Thank you for that. So it was Jimenez, and um, She beat the wig off of Franchon Cruz. I gotta say she. That's what I know right now. But at the same time, Franchon Cruz decided in that corner that, listen, if it's going to be, if this wig going to be the reason why I can lose this fight, cut this John off right now. So, they took the shears and did that, and she went back in and did her thing. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to do that in front of a stadium of people. It takes a lot to do that while the cameras are rolling. Right? So, we must commend the diva for behaving so badly. Women's Boxing Channel said track 24, and then we're in Baltimore. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Women's Boxing Channel, but you come back in saying marshals from Hartlepool near Middlesbrough pronounce Hartlepool. Okay. All right. So she's from a hood over there too, I suppose. Hartlepool. I haven't been in that area, but it had that area has produced a great champion now in Savannah Marshall, and so kudos to Middlesbrough, Hartlepool. Michael Orr says they will have their own league. You talking about us as women's, Michael Orr? Because we do. I think that's the change. About my father's business asked a great question tonight, saying, what is the change of action that needs to be done to bring money into the actual pockets of the women fighters? And I do agree with the other women boxers who have said this. There needs to be a women's professional boxing league, which is in the works right now. There's some people talking, and I'm gonna let that fruit get a little bit ripe. So when I do, when I'm blessed, or when I get the honor of dropping the news, it's juicy and sweet like sugar. Michael Orr says, and there are rules you have to have been born. Oh, and there are rules you have to been born a man at birth. Oh, so you're saying that there's a league. The trans women will have their own league, and there will be rules where you have been born a male to be in that league. Okay, so they got their stuff going. So women's boxing, right? If they can have a league, if trans women can have a league, why not us, right? We should be able to have a league too. For the entire transgendered community, so transgendered males too. Fantastic, good for them. So yes, the WBZ is setting up a transgender division soon. WBC, all they want to do is make their money. They don't care about boxing. They want to make, long as you want to pay for this belt, what you get? You got the money? We'll sanction the fight. You got the money? You got to fight. You know what I'm saying? Sip a little thing. Sip a little drinky drink. This ain't no drink though. This is juice. Cause y'all know when sugar get the coughing, somebody give that lady a drink. Help her out. Eddie Barrington. Hey Eddie. You ain't bring me no flowers or drinks or stuff no more. Boy, I tell you, when y'all men get used to a woman, y'all don't treat her nothing like y'all do in the beginning. Huh? Well, ain't nothing changed. Ain't nothing changed, Eddie. Right? You like wine and dine me. Treat me good. Do me nice. Eddie Barrington comes in and says, you bring money to women boxers by making the fans aware and supporting them. Yeah, that's what the Sugar Show is about. Uh, you guys, the Sugar Show is about bringing awareness to my industry, women's boxing. But the Sugar Show is also about Sugar, the woman, what I got to say, and bringing in other fighters, other baddies out here that got something to say with no judgment. Okay, that's what this show is about. I'm gonna call you on your bullshit, right? WBC always calls me on my bullshit, right? But it's all love. Women's Boxing Channel, that is, not the WBC, not the World Boxing Organization, not the green belt people. Michael Orr says yes, confirming yes, the transgendered community will have a boxing league. Eddie Barrington says people need to know who they should buy tickets for, and I believe in you. Oh, you do it. Not like I'm a sucker for sweet talk. Eddie, don't do it while the show is live. Well, yeah, do it while the show is live. I like it with the lights on too. Hey, you already know Sugar's gonna go there, so stop. Um, Eddie Barrington says, "You tell me to look out for a special fighter, I'll buy that ticket." Well, I've been talking about these, but all of them are special, right? I like them all, right? Watch them; they're entertaining. Very few times a woman boxer will stank up the place, meaning she won't go out there and just not move and lay, just lay still. You know what I'm saying? She gonna come out there, and whether it's looking polished or not, she gonna give you something to talk about. She gonna turn it up. Okay, we just want the quality, right? We want the quality now to up the ante. We want to bet. We want women fighting at higher standards now, instead of the amateur, the undeveloped stuff that they want this big money for, right? I'm not going, Eddie. I don't want you to buy a ticket for some glorified amateur jive. Okay, so that's what we talking about. Um, Eddie Barrington also says that's how boxers get famous, because people are talking about them. Yeah. And that's what the media shenanigans are, right? Eddie Barrington, you made a great point. Um, Boxers get famous by people talking about them. So that's why their people buy articles, right? So they buy their articles in magazines. That's why their people buy their belts. Okay, that's why their people buy or bribe their spots on shows, right? But ain't nobody finna buy Sugar, right? You get on here because you a baddie, right? And I'm not going to blow no smoke, right? Whoever gets on here because they're the real deal. Um, and they're the real deal because their peers, the other women in the industry, understand that this is a broad out here that's dangerous. um and then Eddie gives me my flowers and my drinks. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you. That feels so good. Women's Boxing Channel comes in with a dot, period. Okay, all right. So is it a period? You know how they be like, period, and like, you damn straight when they say period, right? Or is it a typo? Like, you always got to show yourself up for me. Um, Tell me what that means. So listen, y'all. Oh my gosh, we 2 hours into the show already. This is what I wanted to talk about, because I'm a close out soon. Okay. Now, my you know, my sorority sister, Brooke Deerdorf, came, had a show, okay? And on her show now, she invited the fighter Sonia Drailing. Okay. Now I'm gonna give you guys the, you know, I'm gonna give you guys some of the back story on Sonia Drailing. Okay. Sonia Drailing, Sonia Drailing was the fighter who recently fought the crone and ex-champion um Chevelle Hallback. Okay, and Chevy came on this show talking about it, how Brooke D and I, really started connecting was Brooke did made mention on social media that Chevelle Hallback was robbed in the fight against Sonia Drailing. And so we were all talking about it. Everybody came together, right? As much people as could. We came together and had a conversation on the Sugar Show. And we invited Sonia Drilling to cyberspace, right? I invited you, Sonia, on the Sugar Show, right? And to speak your piece. No judgment free zone, to speak your piece, to tell your side of the story, and to introduce the world to Sonia Drailing, right? The broad who was brave enough to step in the ring with the crone Chevy Hallback. Okay. Well, Sonia didn't show up to Sugar's thread, but Sonia did make a date with Brooke D that she would come on her show and talk the talk, or talk about it, right? And so Brooke was going to feature this fighter on her show. Brooke waited, and Sonia Drailing didn't show up on her show. I think Sonia got cold feet and sent an email, and I'm going to read the email, okay? So Sonia said to Brooke D, "Good evening. Unfortunately, after being advised of a few statements made and posted about your views on my last fight, I will not be attending your show. I will not engage in trash talking. I'm sorry you feel that way about the decision. We fought. We fought in a neutral state, zero bias. I was definitely the underdog. Don't let your emotions become you. Don't be a Karen of the boxing world. There is a very wise saying that can be applied to a lot of situations in life. Mind your own business. That's biblical. 1 Thessalonians 4:11, chapter 14. Ask yourself if this affects you or your family personally or financially. With that being said, I will not be manipulated or used to promote your ambitions or goals on your show. You do not support me, so I have no time to support you. It was just a boxing match, a charity event for positive things. Win or lose, I was there to empower women and young fighters and to raise money for starving children and the community. The main reason I took the fight was because it was a charity fight. Trust me, the pay wasn't there. To discredit my accomplishments or tarnish what I stand for and represent is pure jealousy and envy. If Chevelle has a problem with me personally, then she can reach out. Oh, she can reach out to me. Thank you for the offer. Thank you for your offer, but no thank you. Have a blessed night, Sonia Drailing. All right, let's talk. So this is the thing, Sonia. I'm gonna address you because you tagged me on social media where this thing went down. Okay, the Sugar Show is a no judgment platform. Okay, I'm gonna go by which the email that you wrote. Okay, Sonia. Um, the statements that were made by Brooke D or anybody. I'm gonna school you, right? Dragon to wet nose. All right? And this is all love. Everybody's going to have something to say about you. And it's not going to be good. This is women's boxing, Sonia, right? How you handled the situation with Brooke, I'm here, there are words going back and forth, coward, people are, you know, saying these, throwing these terms around. You done call Brooke a Karen, um, which, Karen used to be Nancy. This is a derogatory term for um, a white woman who uh, goes over and beyond to be a bitch. Okay, so like this is a very derogatory term. Okay, um, and calling someone a coward is a derogatory term. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back to us being some grown ass women and talking about this. Okay? Sonia, how you handled the situation was not cowardly. You are not a coward. You just fought a world champion. You can't be a coward and get in the ring with a world champion, something that someone like Cecilia Brækhus would never have done, right? She did fight Chevy, but she wouldn't have did it with the amount of fights that you had, right? Even if it's an old Chevy, right? So you're not a coward, Sonia Drilling, but you are immature, okay? You do have to grow up a little bit, lady, in this industry, because you have to understand and learn that they're going to talk shit about you. People going to talk shit about you, right? And you're going to like it and you're not going to like it, right? And you're going to learn because you're a wet nose right now. And I've explained what the development of a woman in this game is as a wet nose right now. You're going to find before you become a broad that there are people that smile in your face and say all the things you like while stabbing you in your back. And your best bet is with the people who you know don't have the best things to say about you because you know where they stand. They're safe. Read the climate, youngin', right? This is from Sugar to you with love. And all of y'all wet noses out there. There's no jealousy or envy that's going to stop y'all. And so what if other broads and crones and dragons are jealous and envious of you? So what? That's the climate of the game. This ain't Girl Scouts. Would you step in here thinking it was Girl Scouts? Right? Even at the damn beauty pageants, the bitches, they don't like each other. They catty, but they go out and they smile and they strut. And they are so glad you're tuning in. Right, Sonia? No one's going to stop you from saying your piece. So if you had gone on the Brooke D show, you answer the questions that you want to answer. You say what you want to say. Right? Come on the Sugar Show and do the same thing. The hard part is over. You already fought. You fought. Ain't nothing going to hurt you. Sticks and stones. Right? Sticks and stones may break your bones, but words can only hurt you if you let them. Okay? So Sonia Drailing, like I love that you drop in biblical bars and whatnot and stuff like that, but we would have loved to hear it from your mouth. Okay? We all love Sonia. I'm gonna give you your kudos, right? Good job for taking the fight. And good job for fighting for the charity and the starving children in the community. Good job. Good job. But at the end of the day, right? When it all comes down to it, what did you do? You fought. Don't feel, even if it's a shenanigans, even though it's a robbery, even though it was a gift, that's what you're going to learn in this business. You still got to talk your shit. You still got to, you still got to bet on yourself. So it takes a grown ass woman to go anywhere and say, yeah, that happened. I'm going to do my best with what I have, what I got from that, and move forward. Because I ain't going to move backwards. I can't undo it. I can't make it not happen. It happened. What you want me to say? I lost that fight? I'll never say that. You ain't going to hear a female, a woman boxer say, I lost that fight. She should have won. Who the hell? Take her license now. Right? Learn to speak up for yourself. All of you female, all of you women fighters out there, because that's what the old broads used to do. That's why we say y'all ain't built like us. Y'all ain't built like y'all ain't cut from the same fabric. That's what we want y'all to do. Step up to the podium, right or wrong, and speak your piece. Have your voice in anything, y'all. Inside and outside the ring. Joe or Jane, I've learned that my voice is my most powerful thing. How are people going to know what's in my brain if I don't use my voice? And I don't care how intelligent I sound. Somebody's going to feel me. Somebody's going to understand what I say. Because behind what I say is my actions. And you guys will respect what I do. Right? So if you believe in yourself, Sonia Drilling, right? If you believe in the woman that you are, you don't need to good. The devil, you said that the God showed you who the devil was. Okay. You're going to be fighting the devil a lot in this industry. What you going to do about it? What you going to do? What are you going to do? We're going to be grown. We're going to be grown, men and women, when we come talking that talk, when we come talking about fight, when we come talk about them trenches, when we talk about really winning and losing. It's not winning or losing. It's how you win. It's how you lose. This is women's boxing. So they going to like you or they not going to like you. And it's all about if you like the broad or not. You had the spotlight, Sonia Drilling. Hope you get it again. But any spotlight for all of y'all out there, use it. Because like I said, women's boxing is the pimp. You ain't going to pimp women's boxing. You ain't going to come in and sell your ass for a little bit and then jump out. It doesn't work like that. Either you're all in and we making money and you making money too from it, or you set your ass out. at the end of the day, women's boxing going to win. Women's boxing going to get what it gets out of it, whether it's off, whether it's with its foot on your neck, or whether it's you standing up and being a grown woman behaving badly in here. Michael Orr says, I watched the fight. Chevy got robbed. Yes, I watched the fight too. Chevy did get robbed. But I also said this in the previous episode, and with Brooke. Chevy has to understand now, in this time in her career, that she's a crone that has to turn into the dragon. She has to continuously prove herself. Chevy is in her 50s. Okay? She has to prove herself over and over and over against these youngins out here. Wet nose, broad, crone. She has to reintroduce why Chevy's dangerous. Right? So Chevy went in there and Sonya was fighting her. The best. She punched Sonya. Sonya was coming back with shots. So Sonya was in the fight. If you're a fighter like Chevy, you got to walk in there and you have to demolish whoever's in front of you, especially if they don't have the equity that you have in that ring. Even though it was for charity, it's still a fight. So yes, Sonya was in that fight, and she carried Sonya to the end. So Chevy is just as responsible as Sonya for the decision that was made. Right? You want to make sure that this fight goes your way? Well, you need to drop her a couple times. You need to hurt her. You need to bang her up. You need to make a leak. You in there playing games? Well, you play those kind of games, you get those kind of prizes. That's how it works, you guys. Brooke says, did you watch my show though yet and see the stuff on Facebook? I watched your show, Brooke. I wish I could have come on live, right? But should get all tied up with stuff, right? But I watched it. You know, I'm gonna support you, Brooke. And I saw what happened, and I saw that you actually had Chevy on the show. And so when you brought Chevelle Hall back on the show, I think that's what someone is as inexperienced as Sonya Drayling is fearful of or concerned about. Okay? Like this is tough. The camera is on her, and she has to find a way to now speak up for herself all by herself. That's why a lot of women boxers got mouthpieces. They let these guys talk for them, or their managers talk for them, and they're just in the background talking about, right? I want to see the broads. You know who speaks up for herself very well? Clarissa Shields, right? Good or bad, good, bad, or ugly, and they talk about her bad about it, and then they come back and they say great things about her, right? But she makes sure her voice is heard. And I want more women boxers to carry that same swag, because it's a no judgment. You already behaving badly. You already got a bunch of people who don't like you. You already got a people that are jealous of you. So what? You're going to be you regardless. But know that they're tuning in. And you have the spotlight. And while you have the spotlight, what you going to do? You're going to sell yourself, because this is a business. Right? We ain't getting married. It's a business. So what do you want out of this? Do you want friends? Right? Do you want friends out of this? Or do you want a successful business? Because you can't have both in women's boxing. It's a dog eat dog industry. I got stories, right? I got stories. Even the person I shared my bed with, couldn't really trust them. Okay? Other people have stories. Sugar, this is my sentiment. So she says, Sonia Drillin says, mind your own business. Sweetheart, this is our business. Women's boxing is our business. You boxed, right? You had a women's boxing fight, right? Sonia, that's our business. Right? So it just shows like these statements are showing her immaturity, right? And this is not the derogatory thing, Sonia. It's just showing that you need to grow up a little bit, and it's okay. Right? You swinging back. I get it. Right? But women's boxing, mind your own business. It is our business. Talking trash. This ain't trash. Right? We talking the talk. We're selling our industry. Right? And our industry is not trash. And that's what a lot of people out here need to understand. Y'all call it trash talk. What we doing is we're selling our products. We're selling our product. So it's we're not selling you trash. Because at one point, at the end of it all, at the end of the talk or the trash, we're getting in the ring. We done signed our lives on the dotted line. We're going to bleed in there, possibly. So there's no trash in that. That's very real and very valuable. So we want to stop calling it trash talk. Because I ain't talking about no trash. It says she also says in this email that they fought in a neutral state, zero bias. There's no such thing as that, hun. This just shows that your nose is wet. There's no such thing as a neutral state, and there's no such thing as no bias in women's boxing. Somebody's always picking a side. There will always be a side picked. Okay? So I'm teaching all of y'all youngins, all y'all hungry fighters, what it is out here. Okay? Learn this knowledge. If anyone has ever sat down, any fighter or anybody in the game has ever sat down and talked to you, listen to Sugar. Let's see what else I'm going to take from Sonia's testimony, her letter to Brooke D. Did this, she wrote, did this affect your family personally or financially? Yes. 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 What you do in women's boxing affects us all, affects us and our families, and it does affect our finances, whether you realize it or not. Wet nose, right? It's like it's a circle of life. Yes. One hand washes the next, Sonia, and I say this a lot. Women's boxing or boxing is a karmatic sport. So you will find that one day you will be on the end of the stick that Chevelle got in the case between you and her. Okay, and you will have to find a way to come to terms with that. Okay, so yes, it does. It affects us all financially because and you've mentioned it in your letter, Sonia Drilling. You didn't get paid much for this fight. So you didn't get paid much for this fight, and you defeated a legendary or a great legacy of a fighter. It affects us all financially because a fighter like Chevelle Hallback, you should have gotten paid a good amount of money to fight. That should have been a money fight for you. And it wasn't. Okay? Chevelle Hallback has value to her name. So now her name is on your receipt. Okay? It affects us financially now because you are not a high value contender right now. Sonia Drilling, you're not a high value contender. And that's the reality of your situation. Okay? You don't make no money, and there's no reason for you to make no money. Right? So you got this Mercedes Benz parked up in your driveway, and you can't even afford the gas to fill the tank. That's what's happening. That's what has happened to you, Sonia Drilling. Right? What you have done now, and this affects us all, right? Because this affects the pay grade. Be careful, Sonia Drilling, because what'll end up happening to you is because you have Chevelle Hallback's name on your receipt, you're automatically an opponent for these high-end people now. They're coming after you. You don't get a chance to build up. You just defeated a great fighter, right? So you can't go back and you're not going to be taken seriously if you go back and you fight in tomato cans. You're not even going to be taken seriously if you fight other broads, other wet nose broads, because you have now this world champion or this great fighter's name on your receipt. A lot of you fighters, a lot of you wet nose broads jump in this game and you don't know what your moves mean on the chessboard. Right? You got to build. You got to put equity so you can make your money. So that's what that means. You know, that's what that is. Brooke D says, I said she was a coward for not coming on the show when she agreed to it. Talked to me all week and even yesterday morning and didn't show. That's why I said she was a coward for not coming on. Brooke, you called her a coward. Okay, let's call a thing a thing. She called you a Karen. So words were exchanged. I get it. But let's bring it back to neutral and common ground. Okay? She got cold feet. She's not a coward, but she got cold feet. It happens to us all. It came down to the wire where she was going to have to look you in the eye and be on the platform. And she knew in her heart of hearts that she could not justify what happened that night. And it's okay. It's okay. Get my drink. And I don't think there, and I mean it, let's make it no hard feelings, you guys, because this is fighting. It's women's boxing. We're all in the same sorority. Okay? let's make this thing make some let's make it make sense now, right? Let's get some value from this. Um, Brooke Brooke D says she agreed to it and didn't show and sent me a nasty email calling me all kinds of things, disrespectful and so unprofessional. Brooke, you know that's the nature of the business, right? I've had other fighters do that to me. I've had managers do that to me. I've had promoters do. Brooke, come on. That's the game. That's the nature of the business. Okay, Brooke? No shows? That's going to happen. That's going to happen. She talked to you all week. Come on. How many times? I mean, I've had fights where at right before I'm about to get in the ring, they didn't show up. They don't show up. I ain't got no fight. It was all for nothing. We got to know that we got to make that something out of nothing, right? I'm not going to take value from Sonya Drilling. I'm not going to take no value from Chevy, right? It's still there and it's still a thing. Maybe Sonya Drilling will turn around and fight Chevy. You know, if Chevy's still in the game, maybe when she's 15 fights in, she'll turn around and say, "All right, you old crone, you poked the sleeping dragon. Get up. We'll fight now." Maybe. And that'd be a good fight, right? Because now it got drama, it got history, it got the seasonings, it got all the ingredients that Sugar says makes a great matchup. Okay. Um, Brooke D says, "I'm not the devil. She didn't even know Chevy was coming on." Brooke, it seems like Sonya was deflecting here. Okay. Um, you didn't know Chevy was coming on. Chevy came on the show. Okay. So, like, you got to take responsibility for how things went to Brooke, right? You knew to this. You knew to this podcast thing. I'm still new to this, right? So it didn't work out right. It wasn't a good day at the office, and that's fine. With anything and in and out the ring, you guys, people listening in, things are not going to work out 100%, and it's okay, right? Um, there's some value. There's something that you're going to take from it. It ain't going to feel good, but it's something that is going to make you a different person, and it's going to be able to take you through something else. All right. I mean, this is the thing that you just gotta accept that these things happen. Brooke D says, then she should have just said no before and not be on no show. Brooke, I hear you. I hear you, Brooke D. I hear what you're saying. But let's draw on the human side of this. Okay? There are different types of us, humans. Okay? And some of us can do stuff like that, and a lot of us can't. It's a type of fabric. Brooke D, I've said this, like I've said it, we are cut from the same type of fabric, right? To be honest, if I was Sonya Drilling, I'd have came on your damn show and said, okay, let's talk, right? And I'd have talked the thing and we would have had a time. And I'd have talked to Chevy. Yeah, Chevy. Ain't it a shame what happened that night? We might could do it again when I get to 15 and 2, when I get to 15 and 0. We might do it again, Chevy. Yeah, right? Out of work the stage. But Sonia Drilling is not there yet. You said it. Her shit ain't there yet. So we got to work with the broad. We got to work with this wet nose because I don't think she's retired. She'll fight again. Right? We'll see what she does with this. Brooke D says, we can agree to disagree on this one. She disrespected me with all the names and stuff. So I have zero respect for her anymore. I hear you, boo boo. Let me tell you something. You know how many broads that I've talked about on this show and featured and said and 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 acknowledged on my podcast so far that have cussed me out and said awful things to me. My power is that I don't give it power. Right? So, yes, they want to disrespect you, Brooke D, but at the end of the day, you still the champ. At the end of the day, you still the Hall of Famer. At the end of the day, right? So, let them be them. Zero respect for her? Okay. I'm not going to tell you to have respect for her. Right? But what I'm going to tell you, Brooke D, is you got to have a thicker skin. You got to be better out here, right? Us transitioning into this platform is a different fight. Okay? And you're going to learn, you're going to have your style cuz styles make fights. Sugar has hers, right? But at the very smallest fraction, right? We have to know who we are in this game. And Brooke, when you know who you are in this game, nothing anyone has to say to you about you matters. Sugar didn't get to this show because there was I don't nobody liked Sugar like that, right? Not many people like Sugar because when I first started talking and on the threads and things like that, I was telling it like it is. And I was not looking for no friendships. And then after a while, my voice started to be heard. Right? Cuz I don't sugarcoat nothing. They call me Sugar, but it ain't no sugarcoating here. So it is what it is. We're going into a 3-hour show, y'all. My shows are getting longer and longer. Thank you guys for chiming in and watching. Like, subscribe, and share. Right? Um, I hope you guys got something. I hope you all got something out of what Sugar was saying tonight. Um, and Brooke D, keep swinging. Okay? Sonia D, if you're out there, uh you got a lot to learn, kid. And I commend you on how far you've gotten so far. It's up to you on how far you're gonna go, right? And you got to be the type of woman that is gonna stand up for herself and stand behind her actions in this game. And I'm not saying that you're gonna justify rights and justify wrongs, but what you're gonna do is you're gonna give us an opportunity to see what type of broad you are and give us an opportunity to like you or to not like you, because that's what it is. That's what this game's all about, women's boxing. And with that being said, I'm going to wrap it up, y'all. Turned around and it's still almost. I'm trying to make it down to an hour like it used to do, like we used to do, but Now I got a lot to, I guess I got a lot more to say. Okay? Like, subscribe, share, you guys. Okay? And chime in on Fridays for the women's boxing segment with my guys, Seti and Mike on Talking Fight here. Thank you guys so much for chiming in. Okay? If I don't see you at the women's boxing segment on Friday, you know I'm going to be back here next Wednesday. Same face, may not be the same place. I hope you like it. But until then, bye bye.